Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. This is the Eccentric Mind podcast with me, George Hernandez. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I had the great pleasure of interviewing Tracy Trains, and today we spoke a lot about what it means to be a high achiever, what are some of the biggest mistakes that people make when trying to lose weight, and so much a plethora of perspective when it comes to holistic health and holistic wealth. And honestly, I must say this was a great pleasure to do so. I had a great time interviewing Tracy, and I couldn't be more excited for what else she has to do in the future. And man, I really do think you're going to get a lot from her. She has a lot of insights, a lot of perspective, and a lot of wisdom when it comes down to this. So I hope you get something from it, and I hope you enjoy the show, guys. Tracy, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for hopping on.
Thanks, George. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited about this.
To the people who aren't familiar with you, can you give us a brief summary of what you do and who you're helping specifically?
Yes. So I help men and women achieve their dream body using fitness and holistic health. And what was the other question?
Who you are and who you're helping specifically. I think you answered that question.
Perfect.
Yeah, perfectly. I also see in your bio you have a high achiever. Can you define what high achiever means to you?
Yes. So the reason I chose high achiever is because we obviously live in a very go-go society. People are constantly burning themselves out, and so much to the point that they will put their health on the side, or they'll still try to create that health or that fitness goal that they have, but they're neglecting the real things that are going to be create sustainability for their life. So I actually attend the CHEK Institute. This is the world's largest holistic institute, and here they teach us about the two forces in our lives. So there's the yin and the yang, and we need to take care of both of them. So the yin tends to be more anabolic, and it helps build us up. And that's when we're eating the right foods, getting enough rest, drinking high quality water, high quality foods, doing things that bring fulfillment to us, spending time with people that matter to us and make us feel at home. And then there's the yang, and the yang is the catabolic part of us. So that's where we're constantly pushing ourselves, putting us in stress situations, tearing down our muscles, maybe not sleeping enough. And a little bit of stress is good. That's called eustress, but too much stress, that becomes distress. And so I think we live in a society where it's praised to be a high achiever, praised to neglect your health, neglect that yang component, and especially for women. Men as well, but women, we have a hormonal system that is so fragile and sensitive, and we are never taught how to work with it. So what I do is I bring that awareness to my clients. I hold them accountable to the goals that they have, but also the sustainable component to it. So that's basically what it is. Yeah.
You hit that on the money. There's to bring up what you said about the hormonal cycles. So someone brought it up to me, I want to say early February last year, that essentially women I could be totally wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But women have more so at 28-day cycles, and then men only have one cycle throughout the entire month. So it's a completely night and day difference based on what you guys need to deal with, based on what we need to deal with. So I can only imagine the challenges that women need to deal with. So the fact that it's more so, I'm not saying it's more so leaning towards women, which is fantastic. However, it's just great to see that somebody's spreading that awareness,
Yeah, no, you're completely right. women do have a 28-day cycle. Usually, yeah, better than most men. We usually peak during ovulation. This is where our three main hormones are peaking. So our estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. Because men and women have the same hormones, but women just have different ratios. So during that time, we're gonna feel our complete best. We might be hitting some PRs. We might be wanting to hit some sprints. We're gonna be more social. But when it comes closer to our menstrual cycle starting, so the week before, or maybe even 2 weeks before the luteal phase, that's when our hormones start to dip. So our estrogen and our progesterone dip. So estrogen is going to be what really fuels us and gives us energy. And then the progesterone is actually what calms us. So when they're both down, we don't have that progesterone that's helping calm us. Well, we just feel so exhausted, you know? And I actually had a client yesterday. She just started training with me about a month ago, and I'm coaching her and her husband at the same time. And of course, they're gonna see different results, and usually it's the husband that's gonna get the faster results, you know. And she's just putting herself down. She was like, "Oh, like why is he losing more weight than me? Why was was he super out of breath when we first started? And I was doing okay, and now he's like um, improving faster than me." Like she's just comparing herself, herself, and she was exhausted as well. I was having her do walking lunges, and she was just like, "Today I'm not feeling it. This is, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know if it's the holidays." And I just asked her, I'm like, "When's your period starting?" And she was like, "I didn't think about that." She's like, "I do think I'm about 5 days away." I'm like, there you are. There you go. That's your answer. Yeah. You're just in a different part of your cycle right now, and we want to welcome this in. Like this is okay. This is part of our beautiful like being, like the way that we were created. We were just never taught about it, you know. And yeah, her husband, like he doesn't have that cycle, but you know that doesn't take away anything from him. Like he's putting in the work. He's supporting his wife, and working on his fitness so he can be present for his wife. Like they're both on this journey together. Just they're different. They're different beings, so they're gonna have different experiences. Right. And so it's just been really fun to like educate my female clients about that, even my male clients, because I feel like when she was saying that, he didn't know what to tell her, you know. And so when I'm educating her, he's like hearing it in the back, and you know I could see this like clicking in them. Yeah. And it's just like a really beautiful thing. Yeah, because I mean, I personally believe that it is like in our nature that women, like we shouldn't be burning ourselves out. We shouldn't be like doing the most. And I'm bringing that up because I used to think otherwise. I was, I, I don't know if I am or I'm not, but I used to be like a big feminist. You know, like I just thought things were just so unequal. I would always fight my dad about it. And lo and behold, I ended up burning out. I ended up messing up my hormones. I ended up developing ovarian cysts. And I was messing up my gut because I was trying to push myself so much. I was never taking those breaks. I was never checking in on myself. I was never spending time in nature. I was over caffeinating myself, and because I thought that I could do it. I thought that I should be doing it. And it wasn't until I started like learning about our actual differences. Like, yes, we should be equal, but we are not the same. That's what we're taught in our Holistic Institute. We are equal, but we are not the same. And we need to empower these women to like know these differences and not just dismiss them. Like if they can, change their lives a little bit, or find a community that will help them. I feel like one of the groups that I think struggles the most is going to be single moms, because they have to hold that those two they have to wear those two hats. So, you know, the father and the mother. But I think that's why community is so important, you know? So, I encourage some of my like single mom clients to join Facebook groups of other women that they can like lean on. Neighbors, maybe become friends with their kids like parents too, and like lean on each other. We should be working like villages used to, you know, leaning on one another. So yeah.
I love that answer. Yeah, the losing weight is hard, especially when it comes down to this. This is precisely like your area of expertise, and it's a tough challenge, and especially having to navigate it all on your own when you have no idea the challenges that you have to face or what it is that you have to deal with in the process of trying to lose this weight. So I like your answer of trying to find villages or like-minded people who are also on that same path, because once you
Yeah.
start finding those people, you also see the actions that they take, the habits that they have, and along the way you start picking it up yourself. There's this thing where it's like, if you put, I think you might know this quote, but it's like, if you get yourself around 5 other individuals that are cowardly, then you're going to be the sixth individual that's cowardly. But if you surround yourself by 5 other individuals that are courageous, then you're going to be the six courageous people. So it's all dependent on who you surround yourself with. So I absolutely love that answer.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah, and something else like I want to add is just in case there's any women listening, you know, like um yeah, it's a diet is necessary to like reach your goals, but um when you go into starvation mode, there's a difference between like dieting and putting yourself in starvation mode. The female body is going to produce more lipogenic cells. So there's lipolytic, that's fat burning cells, and then there's lipogenic. So
Interesting.
because you're in starvation mode, your body is going to freak out and think, oh, I'm starving, so I'm going to store more fat in my body. Whereas men, because they were like hunters back in the day, like they most of them do tend to thrive when they like do fasting and stuff like that. So they'll produce more lipolytic cells. So just want to bring that into
That's super
awareness in
cool.
case any women are thinking about going on a diet. Just don't overdo it. I know other women that are trying to like get pregnant too, and I I think it's a little dangerous, you know, to just not be aware of that. So do the change your lifestyle, change the way that you're eating, but do not starve yourself. You need to take care of yourself. I just want to emphasize that.
Yeah, I was talking to the person that was just in the chair about a few hours ago. He was talking about bodybuilding, and essentially the sport is your body fighting against itself, preserving its storage, its fat, its fluids, so that way it can prevent itself from dying. So yeah, precisely what Tracy said. Just don't. At the end of the day, if you want to lose weight, it's not worth harming yourself in the process of trying to lose weight. If you can do it in a consistent basis, in a way that you're able to maintain it, then that is the way to go. But if it's unable to control or maintain, then that's likely not the cycle for you.
Yeah, amen.
Amen.
Yeah, something else like I talk about with my clients on my very first meeting with them. I always ask them, "What's your dream?" That's the very first question I ask them. I do ask them like, what are your fitness goals beforehand? But I go back and I ask them, "What's your dream?" And they usually repeat what their fitness goal was, like, "Oh, I want to get toned. I want to lose 50 pounds. I don't know." But that's not their actual dream. You know, your dream, it's a journey. It's a real journey, and I don't expect them to have their answer the first day, but I'm really asking you like, where do you see yourself, or where do you want to see yourself like 20 years from now? 30 years from now, what kind of life do you want to live? How do you want to look? So yeah, your fitness is part of it, your fitness and health. But who do you want to be there with you? Where do you want to live? Maybe what kind of car do you want to drive? How many kids do you want to have? Do you want to have any pets? Like, it's that full thing. Like, what is that dream? What do you want to be doing for work? Um, Maybe you don't want to work. Like, what is that actual dream that you have for yourself? Because so many people like start their fitness journey and it, they get so consumed with the physical, and that's never going to bring like that fulfillment for them. Like, you really need to think like, what do you want out of life? Because maybe you reach that dream body and you're not happy, or you're trying to reach that dream body and it's really hard, so you just give up, but you need to have that one dream that's going to keep pulling you, pulling you, pulling you. There's something that else that they teach us at the institute, is that if you have a big enough dream, you don't need a crisis.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that one?
Of course,
Yeah.
yes. I love it so much. Because most people, nah, I don't know if that's true, but a lot of people will start their health or fitness journey when they get a diagnosis. They're told you have diabetes, or you're pre-diabetic, or you have PCOS, or you can't get pregnant, or whatever it is. You get a diagnosis, and then that's the wake up call for them to actually start caring about their health or their mindset or whatever it is. But if you have a big enough dream, that North Star that's guiding you, well, then you don't need to wait for that crisis, right? And that's something that I always start my clients with, because that's when discipline becomes a thing. You have that thing that you're striving for, and you're not just doing it like, you're not relying on that motivation that is fleeting. Yeah.
That's cool. I like that a lot. Make a big enough dream, you don't need a crisis.
If you have a big enough dream, you don't need a crisis.
Yeah, that's super good.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That reminds me of Jim. You know who Jim Rohn is?
I don't.
He's a great motivational speaker. R.I.P. He said one that said, "Make goals that make something of you in pursuit of achieving them." So create such a large goal that in the process of you going towards it, your character, who you become in the process of going towards it, you likely get closer to it by who you are in the process of it.
I love that.
Yeah,
That's
great.
really good.
Highly recommend Jim Rohn.
I'll write that down after. Thank you.
What would you say are some of the biggest mistakes that people make when it comes to deciding to lose weight? And I'm sure you've seen it, right? The new year just started. People have these big dreams and these expectations of who they want to be and how they want to look. But by February, they're out of steam. So what's preventing them from achieving their goals?
Well, I think one of the things is definitely the goal in itself. If you're relying fully on the physical goal and not the behavioral goals, I think that's where the issue is, because we all see results at a different pace, and if you're not seeing those results like immediately, like you're likely gonna give up. So, but if you change your framework, and you're looking at the behaviors, oh, look at that. Like, I'm getting in 2 workouts a week, whereas before I wasn't working out at all. Oh, look at that. Like, I actually got 8 hours of sleep this week. Oh, look at that. Like, I got in my walks, the behavioral goals. That's where that's where the magic is, So I think that's one of the mistakes people make. Another thing, well, let me think. 1 second.
Take your time.
So I'm reading this book right now. Let's see if I could get it right, because I'm not done reading it yet. But it's called How to Switch Things When Change is Hard by Dan Heath and another author, also Heath. But they talk about how there's an elephant and there's a rider. So someone riding the elephant. And the elephant will start to wander off, get distracted, want to get a little lazy. But it's up to the rider to direct the elephant. Go this way, go that way. So basically what the elephant is, it's our like our pleasure system that relies a lot, that really likes like short-term gratification. Maybe, oh, let me just skip this workout today. Oh, I've been doing good on my diet. Like, one donut won't hurt, or, oh, I've been working out. Let me just not go this week. Like, it's that like easy way out. And then the rider is like a rational side. And that's the side that knows exactly what you need to do to get it done. But the issue with the writer is that they can get so like fixated on that they let go of like creativity and like having fun. So you need to learn how to like bridge those two. So I think finding a way to like merge those is really powerful. I think one of the things that really helped me was just reading, changing your mindset, because I truly believe like your fitness journey, like it starts in your mind, So you need to learn how to tame your mind, to keep showing up for your workouts, to keep like sticking to what you told yourself you were going to eat. You told yourself you're going to go to sleep at this time. Really learning how to tame your mind, I think, is very important. And I think it's not emphasized enough. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love that answer because it also reminded me of one very similar to that one too. And I think this is another crucial one is have you ever heard the elephant story? It reminded me of the fact there's this cool story about, it's kind of sad, but there's a story about like this elephant getting tied, it's this elephant when it's a child. It gets its noose tied, its foot tied onto a particular chain and like a bar. And each time it tries to run away, it can't. Mm-hmm. And elephants are completely different compared to us as humans because we have the ability to be resilient. Mm-hmm. Animals don't have that. So the elephant will literally give up on itself. So it will grow to be the size that it is, which is why you see people being able to hold it onto ropes because it still thinks, because that chain is still tied on its leg, that rope is tied on its leg, that it's incapable of running away, even though it's a large animal that can pull anybody at any given moment. So the lesson in that and the message in that is like self-belief. Like you have to have the belief that you can, the belief that you can lose the weight, But it all comes, like you said, if like you stay disciplined and you keep the habits in place and
Yes, yeah. I think I saw a picture of that the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one of my like mentors, he showed it to us. It was the elephant with the rope around its ankle. Yeah, so you just brought it full circle.
That's
that was
cool.
Nice. Yeah. No, I agree. I think mindset is a big thing, and controlling how you show up. Like you can't really control your emotions, but like you can control like your physiology. I think is really powerful too. Like sitting up straight, like correcting your posture, smiling. Like what comes first? Is it like the happiness or the feeling of happiness, or is it your smile? What comes first? Because the truth is, if you smile, like you immediately feel a little bit of change in your emotions, So what you can't control is your physiology, and like being aware of that. Like if you're hunched over, like closing your shoulders, making yourself small, like you're closing your energy, And that's like another thing that I do in my practice is I help people correct their postures. So especially now when we're like always on our computers, on our phones, like we're constantly hunching ourselves over, and then we're hurting our necks. We're creating like tingling sensations down our arms, So I think that's another thing I would advise people starting their fitness journey is try to create a program catered to you, or find a coach that's going to help you create a program catered to you. That's going to help you correct your posture, prevent you from getting injured when you actually are in that journey. Because so part of like being a holistic lifestyle coach is I'm looking at you entirely. So you tell me your goals, but I'm looking at the 4 main doctors. So Dr. Diet is one of them. Dr. Quiet is another. So like your sleep, maybe even some mindfulness stuff like breath work or prayer, whatever it is for you. Dr. Happy, so doing things that make you happy. And Dr. Movement, so making sure that that you're getting in movement.
Right.
And so where I'm going with this is that when
From what it seems like, though, those 4 tiers, like if
the
you
4
just
doctors.
follow those particular tiers, I could only imagine just how much of a better life that you lead just by doing those, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah. Thank you. You got me back into my train of thought. Like, those are our 4 doctors. We are our own doctor. You know, we should be checking in to make sure we're satisfying those 4 things. And if that's the case, then you likely won't need to go to a doctor's visit. You know. Usually, from my own experience, when I've gone to go see doctors, I just get a prescription. They don't teach me how to like look within and change my habits and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes total sense. It makes a lot of sense. So then, if I want to get into the best physical shape that I want to, and let's say, like you've been mentioning before, a lot about holistic practices, what are some exercises that I need to do to give myself momentum in order to get to the position that I want to get to?
To create momentum. Going on walks, I would say, would be the first thing. Because if you're going out on a walk, you're getting in some sunlight, you're moving your feet, getting your knee up. So walks, I think, are the best place to start, in my opinion. Maybe some stretching, simple as that.
Yeah.
Stretching and going on walks, like start gaining some awareness of your body. Oh, it hurts here. I feel like a lot of people lack that awareness. They just like follow a program or, oh, tell me what to do. But you have to really get to know your body. Yeah. So going on walks, stretching, and once you're like past that, then start adding in the primal movements. So the squat, the hip hinge, the pull, the push, overhead press. And if you want to get spicy, twist as well. Yeah, because that's the one that's a lot of people like in society like forget about, is that we need to work our rotation. Otherwise people get stiff or they start to age and they're like having trouble like getting out of like car seats and stuff like that. And it just helps hydrate your spine. Your spine is like taking care of you every single day, holding you up. So do the same thing to it. You know, you want to give back to it.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like the walking. I take so many walks per day. I also like to call them thinking circles now rather than just going on a walk, because it's just nice going out on like a bright blue day with
way better than going on a treadmill too.
Yeah, that is the bane of my existence, going on a treadmill.
We all hate it. That's why we all play like our shows while we're on it. Yeah.
Okay. So then you mentioned a little bit of exercises. What do you think people are overcomplicating when it comes to exercising?
Well, I would probably say that thinking that they need to get in like a very long workout for it to be like successful. I think you can get a lot out of like a 45 minute workout. That's actually what my workouts tend to be, and it's pretty sustainable. Back in the day, sure, like I used to probably spend like 2 hours plus at the gym, but that's not what you need to get the results that you want. You need consistency. So just simplifying things, I think that's where the disconnect is. Versus thinking, oh, the more I do, the more I'm going to get, because that's not always the case. that's the more stress you're adding to your body. Yeah, earlier I had talked about, I don't think I have talked about it. We have different stressors in our that we receive. So we receive stressors that are physical, that can be from like poor posture, any injuries that we have, overworking or working out too hard or too long. We also have psyche stressors, so stinking thinking, that's what we call it when you're just caught up in your mind. Takes up a lot of your energy. There's nutritional stress, so when you're eating a lot of processed food. There's chemical stress. So we're getting chemicals from almost everything nowadays because we're so advanced. So like there's BPAs everywhere, maybe from Teflon pans too. If we're eating things out of Tupperware, like that's more BPAs. So that's one of the chemical stressors. There's electromagnetic stress too. So that's going to be us being behind a screen, either on our phones or on our computers, or just being like at the gym with all those fluorescent lights. That's another stressor. And then there's thermal stress. That's the sixth one. So either being in a too hot space or too cold space. And that's when people get sick. It's your body's like trying to get warm, but it can't. So, what were we talking about before this?
The stressors.
The stressors. Yeah. So, so if you're doing too much, you're working out too long, like 3 hours, your cup of stress is getting overfilled. It's starting to like pour out. And then all those other stressors you have, maybe that lingering back pain, that gut inflammation from eating so much processed food, or maybe you have like a bacterial infection, that's going to magnify even more. So just try to do less. I think that's my advice for people. Yeah. Or not do less, but do something that's going to be sustainable. Don't aim for those 3 hours. If you're barely sleeping, you're eating really processed food, you're not spending time outdoors, like aim for what's sustainable. Yeah.
I like that too. And it also goes with your high achiever thing. I think the high achiever always wants to do more than what's expected or do more than what they're capable of at that current moment, even though they can see themselves doing more than what they normally do. So sometimes they can say, oh, well, I'm going to go to the gym 5 times a week because I know I'm capable of doing it, but it's not something that they've done yet. So going to the gym going to the gym 5 times a week may not be sustainable, but like you mentioned before, keeping it simple and practical, maybe 2 times a week is simple, right?
Yeah, because I mean, it's majority your diet, you know? So why are you killing yourself at the gym? But then you're going in and out afterwards.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just wash off your progress.
Exactly. Yeah.
You said something recently on I saw one of your notes and it says, your habits are a set of behaviors that can be changed. What do you mean by that?
Yeah. Well, change is hard for a lot of people. But if you look at it like just your habits, that it's an accumulation of, and that your habits are a result of your behaviors, then it becomes reality that you can actually change them. And it starts small. Like you don't have to start, being like David Goggins, and being super intense, but just like how I said, start going on walks. That's the first thing. Once you're like successfully going on walks, like a month, you're like, maybe I can start drinking just water. Like I'm going to cut out the soda. Yeah. Okay. You start doing that. Like that's actually not that too hard. Like maybe now I can go to sleep earlier because I'm not drinking that much soda. So now I'm getting in more sleep. It's just an accumulation. Yeah. I'm sure you've probably read this book, The Atomic Habits. Yeah, that one's so good. But habit stacking, doing your bed. When you do your bed, maybe drink your first cup of water, things like that. Like focus on the habits. That's why I think that's what people make a mistake of, is they get so fixated on the goal, the end goal, when they should be focusing on just who you were the day before, the year before. Like, that's what really matters, your growth.
Yeah.
Your growth, and do not compare yourself to the ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah, just who you were a year before or before that. Because there's going to be wins there. And that's going to create a momentum for you to keep going and keep changing. Yeah.
He also says in that book, don't focus on the outcome, focus on your trajectory. Where are you going?
Yes, the dream, the one love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been reading Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza. And he says a really good quote that says, to change, then, is to be greater than our present circumstances, greater than our environment.
Repeat that.
To change, then, is to be greater than our present circumstances, greater than our environment.
Yes. Yeah, we're in so much control of that. You just have to accept it, literally. The change of mindset, like whether you believe it, if it's true or not, that's true. Like if you don't think you can do it, you're not gonna do it. If you do think you can do it, you are gonna do it. There was something I was gonna say, but it just escaped my mind.
Oh no. It happens. What was it about?
We were talking about change. Oh, yeah. Well, one of the things I wanted to go back to, the reason I posted that is because I'm currently on my own journey as well. I think something I always felt like I sucked at was communication, and I just thought like that's just something I wasn't gifted with. Like my dad was a really great speaker. Like we always tell him like you should have been like had like a radio show or something, because he could just talk for days, tell stories, and like why am I so bad at that? And I hate to say that because it reminds me that growing up I used to have this like negative self-belief, this negative limiting belief that I just wasn't like good enough or not capable enough, like not gifted enough, not talented enough. But in reality, that was just me. I was just holding myself back. It was literally nothing, like it just something I can just crumble up in my head now and let go of. Because I know that's not true, because now I see myself improving my communication, because communication is just a set of behaviors that you can change. Yeah. So I used to think that, I'm just like not capable of expressing myself. But I had just never really learned how. Never taken the time to learn from people that are really good at it, and like taking the notes. And that goes with everything. Like if you're struggling to, you don't know how to get fit, like start talking to people that are there already and ask them, how did you do it? What were the things that challenged you? What do you do when this happens? Same thing with my communication. What do you do when you get nervous before? What do you do when you say a lot or something like that, which I'm still working on. But like I said, it's just a change of behavior. It's just a set of behaviors that I'm changing. Yeah.
You want to know the great thing about that too is like when you go and ask somebody who's in the particular space that you want to be in, is like if you go and ask the big bodybuilder in the gym, you may be a little hesitant too because you're afraid that, oh no, they're gonna just push me back, tell me to go away. But those are the people that are more likely to help you because they were in your position yourself, So it's like they're more open to giving advice.
Exactly. Yeah, I love when people ask me like, hey, how do I do this? Or what do you think about this brand of coffee that I'm drinking? We got to elevate one another. Yeah, like why do you want to be the only one that's like winning and being healthy? Like, don't you want to bring everybody else up as well? Like, don't be afraid to like go ask people questions, because it brings them fulfillment, to be able to give to you as well. Yeah.
Great answer. Okay, so then I saw you ran a 5K.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was hard, not gonna lie. Which is kind of embarrassing because I used to run way more. But Yeah, it was really fun. It was hard because I hadn't really been running, but I did it as a way to bring my clients together. Some of them had goals of doing that 5K. Some of them had never ran before when they started training with me, and after they started, I had them do it, and then they started doing it on their own time. It kind of like becomes an addiction for people when they first start running. I was there. It's been really hard for me to get back to it lately. But yeah, I felt like that was like a good way to bring my clients together to form that community, get them to join like clubs like that. Uh, that's something I do want to get more into, just being a part of like the community. I think 5Ks was like one of the things, but who knows what I'll be doing later on. Yeah.
I love that. What's your take on the whole, because everybody has a belief or an idea on how to lose weight, but it's usually dependent on two factors. One is running and losing weight, or it's lifting and losing weight. Mm-hmm. What is your take on the way, or what do you think is the king for losing weight? Would you say it's running, or would you say it's lifting, or would you say it's a little bit of both, or it's what's your take on that?
Yeah, I do think it's both. I feel like weights are definitely like what's gonna bring the results, because you're gonna be growing muscle, and people don't really just want to lose the weight. Like, they want to look good when they lose the weight. So if you're building the muscle, you're gonna increase your metabolism, and you're gonna look good once you start to actually shed the weight. But I do think running is good, like for your heart as well. It's gonna help bring you into a deficit, get you closer to like a caloric deficit. So I think it's a combination of both, but it's not about like, I definitely don't think it's a lot of just the running. Like, I don't, yeah, I just don't think that running is gonna get you the results that you want. I really just don't. That's why you see people that are like, like skinny fat, or compared to like track runners, because they're actually like building their muscles when they're like becoming sprinters. So I do tend to dabble between both, either like doing sprints or doing like long runs. But I encourage it to be just a little bit of both, just a little bit of weights, a little bit of cardio. Yeah, that's like the recipe for as far as like movement. Yeah, but not overdoing it, because then of course you'll mess up your joints if you're not prepared. But that's like another topic. You can build up your joints to be resistant to that. And something else just hit me right now. Something I learned in the past is that while you're young, it's good to focus on building the muscle, because it's easier for you to build your muscle when you're younger. As you get older, your body's just not as efficient at absorbing your protein and like repairing itself. But once you start to age, like focusing on the running is going to be really good for like your heart health. So even though like you asked me about like the losing weight, and like from like a health perspective, I think that's a good rule of thumb. Lift the weights while you're young, and then as you start to age, start doing some cardio. Yeah.
One thing I've been doing too is like I've been overly dependent on lifting, but I've had that shift where it's not so much trying to get the most muscle now and lift 6 times a week and trying to be like a bodybuilder. It's more so just a longevity perspective. Like, what could I do to get the best bang out of my buck while also staying healthy, looking good, and feeling confident? So now it's like 4 times a week I lift, and then I'll run too. So it's like getting a little bit of both. So that way, I heard this thing where it's like life is maintenance. So the older you get, it's just all about maintaining yourself when you were younger. So that way, when you're older, you're still efficient and capable of doing the things that you
That life
want
is
to
what?
do. Life is maintenance.
Maintenance.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's so true.
I heard it on a show. Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Really good show.
Because we're basically dying.
Yeah. Don't say it so harsh. Okay. So then, one more thing. You said on one of your posts, the desire was put there for a reason. Act on it. What did you mean by that?
Well, I always go back to the one love. Your one love is your dream, your legacy, your purpose. And it's basically God telling you, like, this is what I put you here for. This is the gift I've given you. Like, use it. Use it. That's how I interpreted it. Our desires are our gifts that are given to us from God. And, you know, if we don't act on it, the worst thing that can happen is we regret it later on. So it's just a reminder that, you know, life is short. We're meant to live our life, and don't let it go to waste. Don't live your life with regrets. That's probably like the one thing, you know, that I think would be my biggest fears if I didn't live up to my live my dreams and do what I wanted to do, at least like when I was young, right now that I'm young. So just go for it. Yeah, listen to your soul, because your soul guides you. Your soul guides you to, oh, do this. And it makes me think about something else. Like, people like choose careers, they some of them stick with it their entire life, but others, like, after a few years, they just hate their jobs, you know? And I think it's smart to listen to that, because your soul is telling you this isn't for you anymore. You know, shift, pivot. It's time for you to do something else. Listen to that. It's your heart telling you, I want more. It's God telling you. So yeah, I think people need to just listen to what they know, you know? That's kind of what I try to tell people.
Love that. I have a quote here. I'm just... Oh no, we're at 20 minutes.
Beautiful.
Okay. So then, yeah, I have a quote actually that brought it. I wrote this myself, which I'm kind of proud of. It is... In the state of pursuing your purpose, it takes routine, structure, time management, and priority. You must prioritize it ahead of literally everything. Mm-hmm. For each minute away will be questioned, second guessed, and the ambitious mind will slowly uproar, only to be settled upon working on it. Have a purpose? Good. Hold on to it. Make it last. Mm-hmm. For the flow of the journey towards making it happen is one of chaotic bliss. You doubt, sulk, motivate, and inspire yourself in a spring of decisions you recognize is incomparable to the version you were in the past.
Oh, that was so good. Wow. I love that. Yeah. Something else I wanted to add is, like going back to what I was saying, how it's okay to pivot. Like, we can have multiple like purposes in our lifetime. You don't just have to stick to one thing and run with it your whole life. And I think that's important. That's super duper important. I have friends recently that have decided to do something else like with their life, and it was such a big decision, but I'm just so proud of them for going through with it, listening to their heart, listening to God and their soul. And on top of that, like, it allows you to keep being like creative, you know? I feel like as we age, like, a lot of people will stop being childlike, and like that's so sad, because we're all just children, like, in adult bodies. Yeah, like, I think it's an opportunity for you to keep exploring that and bringing that out, because it's still in there. You just have to like play with it, you know, be playful, learn something new. Like, don't be afraid of like failure. Like, embrace like failing, because that means that you're growing. Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I think the body is the most important aspect to get into good shape. The only way I was able to dig that inner child out was when I realized that I lost the weight, when I was capable of losing that amount of weight and staying true to myself on what I wanted to do, but staying consistent in the patterns and the habits that I knew I could do. And the only way I was able to pull that kid out was when I realized, like, I am what I say I am. And that's when I became more playful and more enjoyable when it comes to life and seeing and appreciating the beauty of all things. So that's why I always like indicating and try and send a voice out there of, like, we need more people to just pretty much what you're doing, like helping people get into better states of mind, not only physically, but in the process of them getting healthier physically, they have a healthier mindset as well.
That's so important. Yeah, I agree with that. Fitness, I feel like it should be just a regular thing. Like, we wake up, we brush our teeth. Why can't, like, I feel like fitness should be up there with that. Yeah. Like, getting your workout, going for the walk at least. Like, it should be priority because we have so much to lose if we don't. We have so much to lose. We start to, like, hate ourselves. We start to get pain in our body. We don't function well anymore. We don't have the energy to be, like, with our family. It again, like, takes away our creativity, our, like, essence, and we do have so much to lose. I feel like fitness should be something that I guess we're probably taught, like, since we're kids, that, like, the most important thing you should do is take care of your health. Your health, like, health comes first. But instead we're, like, fed all these, like, processed foods when we're kids, or that's, like, the cheaper thing. Like, why is cheap food, why is unhealthy food so cheap? That's, like, my question. Like, we just need to make it more accessible, teach kids how to take care of themselves and, like, make healthier choices and learn how to move, learn how to, like, be outside and play. Like, I don't even see kids, like, play outside anymore. First, I was blessed and I still had that, but I hardly see that now. I don't see kids playing outdoors. They're just on their iPads. Yeah, and who knows, like, what that's gonna do in the future. Like, yeah, it's something I worry about.
Me too, especially with the whole glasses coming out in 2031. Like, if we're so dependent on our phones now, can you imagine when they're on our face? That terrifies me.
I didn't know that's what it was. I heard somebody talk about glasses yesterday, but I didn't know that's what it was.
Yeah, Zuckerberg wants to release glasses in 2031. And if that man puts his mind onto something, he's going to make it happen.
Yeah. So. No, yeah, it worries me. Like, everyone's going to be overweight or in pain. Like, how are people going to be, firefighters? How are people going to be, like, showing up and teaching and, like, having energy to connect? It's
not only that, but, like, examples for, like, being mothers and being fathers, like, being good, harmonious, tough examples for their kids.
Fitness is great because it teaches people to be tough, to keep pushing through the pain. Yeah.
Dang, this was cool. Tracy, I couldn't appreciate your time so much more. Like, I am very glad that you came onto the show, and I appreciate your time for hopping on and offering us a master class. Where can we find you, and what should we expect from you moving forward?
Well, you can find me on Instagram. My handle is @Tracy Trains with a Z, and Facebook, same thing, Tracy Trains. TikTok @Tracy Trains. RIP TikTok. Expect to see more storytelling from me, more me being my authentic self, and me providing as much value as I can on my social media.
Awesome. Well, we will see you soon, Tracy. Thank you again for hopping on.
Thank you, George.
And that's it. If you guys want to see more cool guests and more cool conversations, then go ahead and check the corner, and you're going to see a lot of cool conversations with other cool people as well. Feel free to give us a like and a subscribe so that way you can get notified for all the other upcoming podcast episodes that we have with, again, very, very cool people on the way. So if you enjoyed that one, go ahead and check out one of these.